Chapter 16, The Wow Factor. I turned to Amy and decided to see what her mood was like and said to her, "What a bunch of great guys." "Yes," she simply said. "I can't help but to love them." Then she asked, "Do you think we'll be okay?" "Yes," I said, "and if I have you with me, I'll always be more than okay." Then she unbuckled her seatbelt and kicked off and floated over and grabbed me around the neck and kissed me over and over about the face. As I fumbled around with mine, then set myself free, I mingled with her for a moment in space, in zero-G. I dreamed and fantasized this moment since my teen years, which just now dawned on me. Okay, I had to control myself as I tried to speak. "Amy, Amu," came out of my mouth as I tried to say her name as I got smothered with a kiss. "We gotta stop now. We have to do this and be ready in about an hour." Okay, she said. "I can't help it." "I understand. Listen, you gotta get this data. Check the telemetry and guidance. We need speed, distance from Earth, and the name of that system we seem to be heading towards. I'm gonna try to figure out why the command computer locked up after its safety protocol took over. Then I'm gonna check our shielding to see where it is as far as strength and where its focal point in front of us is. And its shape around our ship should be a football shape. We will want it to be at a maximum safest level, whatever that is, in front of us. Very important there. Magic and Carl had figured out how to do this since it became known to us, and this trip would be its ultimate test now, and we would now learn how good or strong it can become, because out here it was one of the most important features of this drive system, way more important than anything else. I knew that our speed was increasing. My fear was that if we went too far, we wouldn't get the answers we need from our crew. It wouldn't be long till we would outrun and lose our communications with the base. If that happened, there'd be no support from them. I started to feel the pressure. It wouldn't be long till we would outrun and lose our communication with base. If that happened, we would have no support from them, and I started to feel that pressure. I hit programs, then the scan disk, and while at work looking for damage, I went over and looked into Amy's monitor. The rear cameras were showing a double view of Earth behind us. She was on the next keyboard over, loading the data in a list, and she said, "Check out the size of our planet." It was the size of a marble. A few minutes ago, it overfilled the screens. "Hold that thought. Let me go and check the field." Look at this. Its focus in front of the ship was becoming a fine needle-like appendage. As the can attracted to the target object, it would extend out as far as possible, and in theory, deflecting anything in its path lighter than the weight of our ship. But if there was something heavier than our ship, the ship would be deflected around the object, then the computer would realign us and put us back on course. That is, if it still worked. The screen showed the field rather nicely, and I started to move the dial on the console, and it fine-tuned the field exactly as predicted. I didn't notice anything else wrong except the strength of the field that was registered also was increasing slowly. on the scale shown, which meant we were speeding up as the power we were capturing increased. It seemed we were in a channel of increased zero-point energy emanating from the star we were attracted to. I would confirm that later. Right now I had other things to look at. I then turned and went back to the navigation computer, and it was still scanning. So I then went over to Amy's side again and looked at the view again and the Earth. The Earth wasn't there anymore. Now, small star like the sun was on two screens and barely recognizable. Still not saying anything, I went to our tracking computer to see if it was recording our way home, and it was. Thank God, I sighed in my head privately. As I did this, Amy said, "Thank God for what?" Startled a little, I spoke up. "What do you mean for what?" "I heard you," she replied. "You read my mind?" "I did." "Thank God for what?" she asked again. "Okay, but first tell me, what have you learned? Then I'll tell you what I know." "I'm still waiting for the scan," she said. Then she ran down the list. "We are 4.3 billion miles from Earth, about the distance of Earth to Pluto, and our heading is at about 60 degrees out of the orbital plane. Our life support is fine. The star that we seem to be headed to is a star called Kepler 62 in the Kepler system. I'm still trying to calculate if that's the exact one and how long it would take to get there at the speed we are traveling. If we increase speed steadily and exponentially, and I don't know what that is now, so that's it for now. Is that enough?" "That's something," I said. There was no sense in hiding anything from her. She was strong and could take anything in any emergency, so I simply said, "Yes, that's plenty." I then added the most important aspect of this machine. "It is working exactly as predicted, which makes us safe. No matter how fast we go, we're safe." "You promised me something," she interjected. "What, baby?" "Don't hide anything from me, okay? I want to know everything. Your well-being and mine are one and the same." After being with her for a few years, I learned how to put up mental walls, but now there was no point. It seemed not to work as well now. So I said, "I won't." "Thank you, my love," she simply said. I spoke up now, after some time of silence. "Okay, here's what I have. The field is tuned and working as we predicted, and the strength of the shielding is increasing with our speed and optimized even at this point. The star charting program is working and recording our sun's position and 6 points of reference positioning in the direction we're going for a chart to return home. I haven't said anything till now about this, but we will outrun our ability to communicate probably soon, if not already." I then said, "Let's see if the scanning is done." And it was, and I read for a moment. "One of the 3 hard drives in that computer, as I pointed it out, is damaged. It would need to be replaced and reprogrammed. Right now, it's as if an hour has passed, but the crew at the base would see several hours pass. We should receive a message from them any time now. Why don't you go ahead and check?" "No, nothing yet," she said. "Okay, I see. It's driver E. I'm gonna pull it out and check the spare parts to get one. We put 8 of them in there just in case. There's 1 or 2 for each of our computers. I gotta make sure I grab the same kind since all but two of our machines were different. Nothing like a challenge, she said, then smiled and added, Carl has us covered, doesn't he? Yes, he does, I'm sure. I said not only that, but the right downloads for the right drivers. I need you to go in that cabinet and pull out the discs that are marked downloads for telemetry and navigation computer 3 driver E. While I get this bad hard drive out, but first, while you're there, hand me the rubber gloves in that drawer. I'm gonna do this hot. We can't turn this off. It was more for the protection of the motherboard than for me. She found the gloves, floated over, handed them to me, and then returned to her main console. I pulled out the drive and went below to get what I needed, and after matching the right one up with the one I was comparing to, I then re-entered the command bridge and did the operation. Everything went smoothly, and I was putting the cover on, Amy cried out, "A message is coming in." "It's uploading," she said excitedly. "Good," I said. "They are damn smart. They know what's happened and where we are. They sent this message 3 hours ago, and our clock shows we have been out here 15 minutes shy of 2 hours now." "What do they say?" "They sent it as a recorded attachment." So she opened it. They were all standing there at ground control, and Bob, our silent backer, was there too. Magic started. "We increased our signal strength here to compensate the distance. We know where you are heading and basically how far. You are going to Kepler 62, and there's a problem with that. It's 1,200 light years away. We also know that there will be by now a time lag in these messages, and soon we won't be able to talk to you because the signal is getting weaker until you turn around, and that's what we suggest before you get too far. But tell us what you have found out about the performances and what the failure was and your decision on that." Carl spoke up now. "Check the drivers in the navigation computer. You should find a damaged hard drive more than likely, and you will find what you need on board to repair it. I'm also sending all the downloads just in case." Next was Drew. "Well, you know what I want to know," as Carl punched him in the shoulder. We all snickered. I said, "Gotta love Drew's one-track mind." Amy just smiled at me. Then Bob spoke. "We won't go to the patent office till enough time goes by, or we at least hear from you again. We have asked everyone, all the witnesses, to keep everything secret, but even if it leaks out, people will think it's a hoax. They tell me that it will take a week or so to get a response back from you. Good luck, guys." If something bad was to happen to Amy and me, they would invoke Plan B, which was to start over with the project. Magic was back on. "Well, we are 99% sure that the hard drive is the problem, so when you replace it and download the program, do a shutdown and reboot, then attract your asses back here, mates, and keep recording, okay? Our witnesses are keeping silent till you return, and Amy's father isn't going to show the media at NBC anything till you guys return. Secrecy is still important. I'm going south now to see my folks. Be back in a few days. Good luck. See you soon, my best mates." "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow," we both said those exact words simultaneously. I said, "You're reading my mind again." "What am I thinking?" I asked as I floated back to the navigation computer. I had to reprogram driver E still. Amy said, "Send them what we can. about our position and destination, and what we are fixing, also our systems information and environment info and condition. But what about our decision? We will have a decision to make soon at some time. I wondered how far out the can is going to go. She now knew what else I was thinking about our situation. I had an important test to think about. She turned around and started typing and adding a short video as I worked, and as she spoke with our internal camera and switching to the computer cameras at times with a view of our son, she told them all the information we had to tell or reveal, and then waited to send it. We waited and discussed what I was thinking about. We didn't know yet what we would do next, so I laid it out. If we did what Magic said to do about reversing, it might take a month to get back at this distance. If we are wrong about the capabilities of the ship, give or take, as I estimated the math in my head, we could die. We needed to test it and find out what it is capable of. It might be instantaneous and quick, but how quick, we didn't know. But if it wasn't, we would have a major problem. In other words, if it slowed down as we turned and it slowed too much and at this distance, it might take a while to build up speed again to get back. I explained to her that the ship was locked on a line of force emitting from the system we were attracted to, and veering off course might lower our power and speed severely. It seemed to be a natural path from our star, our sun, to the Kepler star. We are riding a line of force. That's what I think the radar and computer sensed and locked onto. I put the cover back on the computer and then restarted the computer. Soon recognized new hardware as I strapped it in, and then uploaded the disk and downloaded it into Driver E. I got on the run window and typed in the file name, hit enter. In a few minutes I seen the screen light up and it was done. All my statistics were there. We were at the 3rd power level and still climbing. My telemetry showed that the star we locked onto was Kepler 62. We were at 100 billion and 23 meters per second. A light year is the distance that light travels in 1 year. I showed Amy this. The speed of light is 299,792,458 meters per second, which is about 371 million miles an hour, or 186,282 miles per second. Alpha Centauri is 4.37 light years away. So if you were to travel at the speed of light, it would take us 4.37 years to get there from Earth. Light travels at 3,249,960 miles per year. That number is actually bigger. The fastest man-made ship, the Challenger, was recorded at going about 18,000 miles an hour, which means it would travel 157,680,000,000 miles per year. That means for the Challenger to travel 1 light year, it would take 20,611 years for that man-made machine to travel 1 light year. She read my mind at the speed of light. It will take us 1,200 years to get to Kepler. We are close to really seeing if Einstein was right or wrong about that barrier. Tesla would agree that he was wrong. I don't get it, she said. Well, he's right about time on board. The prediction that it would noticeably slow down at about 3/4 light speed is true and false. I think that phenomena starts at about half light speed and keeps increasing. If that's true, then at about 99% light speed, time may stop altogether for us as we keep moving. That could mean as we travel, we are frozen in time, for lack of better words. Beyond that, I don't know. So we wouldn't age and years would pass on Earth if we reached the speed of light, and then the Kepler system. Right now, we haven't even attempted full power yet. If we could hit that number, let's say at least the halfway point to the destination to that star and its system, and continue the momentum, the closer we get, the stronger the force. That's how the theory works. I would like to see what happens. This is going to take a while to explain. Okay, our choices are slow down and turn and then start the acceleration over again, or keep increasing our speed and see what happens, or what we are capable of first, and then at a certain point in time turn around. We basically have two choices to pick from, and it all depends on how long our supplies last: food, water, and air. She knew what I was thinking, and it was simple. If the craft didn't perform as expected, as we turned around, we would be long dead probably before we reached anywhere near home. Because at this distance, it might be too slow at a startup to reach an optimal speed, and we just didn't know. To keep going could save us from running out of one or any of the life support necessities if time slowed significantly. It was a toss-up of which would run out first, so it was a simple choice to turn or keep going. We could turn once we reached top speed, if we learned it wasn't fast enough to go forward, which would probably be better than reversing. We had no idea what this craft was capable of, and all we know is what it was doing now, and the good thing was, it was still increasing in speed. Either way, turning now or later may mean death, maybe. If we could only reach light speed going forward, and if this technology we built is capable of that, we might die anyway. Probably. We just haven't done enough tests to know for sure. Time for prayer was coming. If we turned in a circle, we would cover billions of miles. That could also take too long. We just didn't know. Next. Chapter 17, Choices.